Good morning, Year 6. Today we're going to start our statistics topic properly by beginning our learning on pie charts. I'm going to share my screen with you now and we're going to get started straight away. Before we go any further, we're just going to do a very quick quiz to check if you know your conversions between fractions and percentages. So just pause the video now and have a go at converting these fractions into percentages. For example, I'll do the first one with you. I know that 10% is equal to 1/10. We should know these off by heart, and if you don't know them off by heart, you should know how to convert them from last term's learning. But you need to know now whether or not you're confident with these facts because you'll need them throughout the rest of the lesson. So pause the video and have a go. Okay, so these are the conversions. 1/2 is 50%, 1/4 is 25%, 1/3 is 30.33333333333%. We call that 33.3 recurring with the dot above the 3. 3/4 is 75%, 1/5 is 20%, 1/8, remember that's a slightly trickier one, that's 12.5%, and 1/100 is 1%. If you do not know those facts off by heart, please make sure when you're getting your resources ready for today's lesson, you have the percentage, it says decimal here, I mean fraction, your fraction percentage conversion chart that's on the morning sheet. So quickly open that now and use it throughout today's lesson so that you can be successful with your learning. You will need that as well as your pencil, paper and a coloured pen for marking. Right, we're going to start today's learning with our morning arithmetic. Please pause the video now and try these 6 questions on your piece of paper. Okay, let's start going through these questions then. 2/4 is 1, add 1/3. First, I'll find their common denominator, which is 12. To get from 4 to 12, I times by 3. 2 times 3 is 6. To get from 4 to 12, I need to times by 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Adding those together, and I will be left with 10/12. You could have simplified that to 5/6, but you didn't need to. 20% of 360, I'll use chunking for this. 10% is 36, so to find 20%, I need to times by 2. I know that 36 multiplied by 2 is equal to 72. The next question was a BIDMAS question, so you should have written out BIDMAS. Then you should have spotted that you needed to start with multiplication. 3 times 2 is 6. Then you're left with 4 add 6, which we know is equal to 10. Next to long multiplication. Make sure you're regrouping carefully and tick each row as we go through the answers. 8 times 9 is equal to 72. 8 times 2 is 16. Add that 7 will be 23. 8 times 3 is 24. Add 2 is 26. Add in your 0. 4 times 9 is 36. 4 times 2 is 8. Add 3 makes 11. 4 times 3 is 12. Add 1 is 13. Our final step is to add those 2 columns up, 2 rows up. 2 add 0 is 2. 3 add 6 is 9. 6 add 1 is 7. 2 add 3 is 5. And 1 add nothing is 1. Your final answer should be 15,792. When multiplying fractions, we simply multiply the numerator. 1 times 2 is 2, and then we multiply the denominator. 5 times 7 is 35. That couldn't be simplified or written any other way. When we're dividing by 100, I know I'm dividing, so I'm moving to the right and I'm moving 2 place value columns. 4 goes down, 1, 2. 4 to here, 2 to here, 7 here. I need to put a 0 in the ones column to show that I'm holding that place value, 0.724. Please pause the video and have a go at your reasoning questions. If you can't clearly see this question here because your device is too small, I'm going to read it aloud for you so that you can solve it. Here are 4 number cards, 9, 2, 3, 5. Jessica uses each card once to make an even 4-digit number. Tells you you've got 4 digits. She places a 9 in the tens column and a 5 so that it has a higher value than any of the other digits. What is Jessica's number? Please solve that question and your other reasoning questions by pausing the video and doing them on paper now. Okay, the first clue here was that it's an even number. If it's an even number, I need my ones to be even. The only even digit was 2. 9 needs to be in the tens column, so that's the ones and the tens, so 9 goes here. And a 5, so it has a higher value than any of the other digits. 5 goes in the thousands, leaving 3 in the hundreds. 5,392. Rounding now, rounding to the nearest 1,000. I underline my 3 and look at the 5. That tells me I round up. So that would be 894,000. To the nearest 100,000, I'd underline my 100,000s. I'm going to round up to 900,000. And to the nearest million, there's nothing in the millions, but I circle the 8 and that tells me I round up. No millions, rounded up would be 1 million. And remember, there are 6 zeros when you write 1 million. Okay, the next 2 questions, if you haven't done any conversions, you've probably got the answer wrong. So if you need to, pause the video and convert your answers to have another go at these. Right, to order these, I need them all to have the same denominator. As 2 of my numbers already have the denominator 16, I shall convert all of them to 16ths. To get from 4 to 16, I'm timesing by 4. 3 times 4 is 12. And to get from 8 to 16, I times by 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, now I can order them. I'm starting with the smallest. So it would go it would first be 10 16ths. And remember, you've got to write the original value, so that's 5/8. After 10 16ths, I would have 11 16ths. Next would be 12 16ths, but remember you write it as the original, so that's 3/4. And next would be 13 16ths, so I'd write that one there, 13/16. Okay, tick 2 numbers that are greater than 0.5. Remember, 0.5 is the same as 0.50, it's the same as 50%, and it's the same as 1/2. So I look at these and I want to know if they're greater than 1/2. 3/4 I know is greater than 1/2, and to double check, I'll convert my half into quarters. That's 2/4. Yes. 24%, no, that's less than 50%. 65%, yes, that's greater. 0.05 is less than 0.5, and 50/100 is the same as 1/2, so I should not tick it. Tick 2 numbers equivalent to 3/5. For this one, I think what I'll do is convert 3/5 into a decimal because I prefer working with decimals. First, I need to make it tenths. That will be 6/10. Now I know it's 0.6. Okay, is 30% greater than 0.6 or 60%? No. Is 5/3 greater than 3/5? I know 5/3 is greater than 1 and 3/5 is less than 1. So without doing any conversion, I can say yes. Sorry, I have just realised I've misunderstood this question. I meant to be ticking the ones which are equivalent. If you made the same mistake as me, you need to read the question carefully. I clearly didn't. I want to tick the ones which are equivalent to 3/5. So 30% is not, because that's not 60%. 5/3 is greater than 100%. 0.6, yes, that is equivalent. 40%, no. 12/20, I'll have to convert that into fifths. Dividing by 4, that would give me 3/5. Yes, that one is 3/5. Sorry, I didn't read that question carefully enough, but your correct answers were 0.6 and 12/20. Okay, I'd like you to write the date and WALT on your piece of paper, and we're actually going to do the do now on the next page. So pause the video now to write the date and WALT, and then we'll do the do now together on the next page. For your do now activity, I just want to double check you can remember which of these words matches which of the definitions. So you've got a picture of a circle. The outline of the circle is purple. Can you please tell me what the purple colour, that's purple there, represents? Is that the radius, diameter or circumference? This line here is blue. What does blue equal? And finally, you've got the red line. Which one is the red one? Quickly write them down now. Purple is this, blue is this, red is this. Circumference is the outside measurement of a circle. So the purple line was the circumference. Now remember, the word radius is shorter than the word diameter. So the radius was the shorter line, the blue one. The diameter goes all the way across the circle, longer than the radius, so red was diameter. Well done if you could remember those definitions. You also need to make sure you're able to correctly identify some fractions of circles today, because we're going to be looking at pie charts. Quickly write down now what each of these fractions are, what fraction of each of these circles is shaded. I'm only going to give you a couple of seconds because this should be recapping very old learning for you. Okay, in fractions, this is equal to 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, and 1/5. On the next slide, I'd like you now to tell me what percentage of these circles is shaded. What percentage? Okay, so this is 50%, 1/3, which I know is 33.3 recurring percent, 1/4, which I know is 25%, and 1/5, which I know is 20%. Remember today I told you you needed to be able to convert between fractions and their equivalent percentages. Start by identifying the fraction of the shape and then convert it into the correct percentage. Remember, if you're not confident with your conversions between fractions and percentages, use that table to guide you. Right, the first few examples I'm going to show you. This is a pie chart. You can see that it's a way of representing data. Here, I'm finding out about people's favourite books. The full circle represents 100% or one whole. So if my full circle was blue, that means everybody has chosen the same book. At the bottom here, you can see the key, where you find out which colour represents which. Blue represents Harry Potter, orange, Northern Lights, and grey, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So I can see then, blue, which is the Harry Potter, is 50% or 1/2 of people's favourite books. My first question says, what fraction preferred Northern Lights? I go to my key to find Northern Lights. I find it on the pie chart and I think to myself, if I'm looking at this section of the pie, what fraction is that? In order to help yourself, you can imagine the circle split into completely equal parts. If it was split into equal parts of that size, it would look like that. That's right, I have 1/4 preferring Northern Lights. The next question I'd like you to do by yourself. What percentage preferred Diary of a Wimpy Kid? What percentage preferred Diary of a Wimpy Kid? Write down your answer on your piece of paper now. I look for Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It's the grey section. I know that's 1/4, but I was asked for a percentage. 1/4 as a percentage is 25%. Well done if you said 25%. Here I can see that my data is telling me the flavours of crisps that people can prefer. The yellow is prawn cocktail, grey is cheese and onion, orange is ready salted, and blue is salt and vinegar. My first question says, what is the most popular flavour of crisps? To answer that question, I need to say which section of the pie is the biggest. I can see the yellow has the biggest proportion of the pie, so the most popular flavour of crisps is prawn cocktail. What's the least popular flavour of crisps? Which sections of this pie have the smallest segments? Well, actually, for this answer, I can see both ready salted and cheese and onion have only 1/8 or 12.5% of the votes. So I would have to answer cheese and onion and ready salted. If you worked in a shop, which 2 flavours would you order to maximise your profits and why? For this question, you've got to think to yourself, what does a shopkeeper want? Crisps that sell well or crisps that no one wants? Well, obviously, you're going to have to sell the most popular flavour of crisps. So really the question is asking you, which are the 2 most popular flavour of crisps? The 2 most popular flavour of crisps are prawn cocktail and salt and vinegar, because they have the biggest sections of the pie. Right, these next 2 questions you're going to answer yourself on the piece of paper. So quickly pause the video when you've heard me read the questions and answer them. What fraction of people preferred ready salted? What % of people preferred salt and vinegar? When I'm looking for the fraction of people preferring ready salted, I find ready salted. That's here. I need to decide to myself, if this circle was split into pieces this size, what would that look like and how many would there be? You can draw these on to help you. You can see now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal sections. Or you can think to yourself, I know this is a half of a half is a quarter, and half of a quarter is 1/8. Either way, your answer there was 1/8. The next question asked you, what percentage of people preferred salt and vinegar? Find salt and vinegar on the pie. Here it is. I can see that's 1/4. So you needed to decide as a percent, what percent is that? 1/4 is 25%. Let's look at the next group of questions then. These are true or false questions. You can see this data is telling you how children travel to school. Walking, bus, train, bicycle or car. True or false? 50% of people walk to school. To answer this question, I need to find out how many people walk to school. Walking is yellow. Is yellow 50% or 1/2? Yes, 50% of the people walk to school. Have a go now on your piece of paper at solving the other 3 questions. Pause the video and answer them now. Question 2 said more people travelled by train than by bicycle. Train is in grey here and bicycle was yellow here. Is it true that more people got the train? No, it's got a smaller section, so that one is false. 25% of people travelled by car and by bicycle. Let's look to myself, where is car? Here's car and here's bicycle. Those two together, would I say they equal 1/4 or 25%? I know they're not, because this is 1/2 and this is 1/4. On the other side then I've got 1/4. The car and the bicycle aren't the full quarter, so that is false. 25% of people did not cycle by car and bicycle. Finally, 1/3 of people got the bus to school. To answer this question, I need to find where the bus is. I can see here I've already identified that the bus is 1/4. That's not the same as 1/3, so this also was false. It's time for you to have a go at answering some questions, but before you do that, I'm going to tell you some top tips. Firstly, make sure you know if you're being asked for a fractional percentage. In the question, underline the word fractional percentage to make sure it's clear. These are word problems, so I would recommend rereading each question carefully before you answer it. And also, just a little tip, remember in statistics, when you see the word or, that normally means adding. For example, if you were asked, how many people liked blue or green, that means you need to add together the blue and the green. So that I repeat that, when you see or in statistics, that normally means adding up 2 values. Blue or green means blue and green. Please pause the video now and have a go at solving these first 17 questions. I know 17 sounds like a lot, but lots of them are quite simple one-word answers. Once you've finished answering these questions, I'll go through the answers with you, and then we've got a second part of the lesson, so please make sure you keep watching the video. Please make sure you've answered the first set of questions before moving on. We're going to go through the answers now. You should not keep watching until you've answered those questions. Right. What was the most popular colour? The most popular colour was red. That's the biggest section. What fraction of people's favourite colour was blue? That was 1/4. What percentage of people preferred blue? That's 25%. What percentage of people's favourite colour was not red? I can see red is 1/2. So not red is also 1/2, and as a percentage, that is 50%. If you said 1/2, you weren't checking percentage or fraction. Next group. What was the most popular group? The most popular group is this one here, that is milk. The most popular drink was milk. Kelly's mum is planning a party. Which 2 drinks should she buy? She should choose the 2 most popular. We know the most popular is milk. The second most popular was Coca-Cola. What percentage of people preferred Coca-Cola? That's 1/4. We know that is 25%. What fraction of people preferred apple juice? We can see this is 1/4. Apple juice is up here. That's 1/2 of another quarter, which is the same as 1/8. 1/8 of people preferred apple juice. Let's look at the true or false questions. More people prefer water than orange juice. Water is light blue. Orange juice is dark blue. They actually are the same, so that's false. 1/4 of the people preferred milk. Milk is here. You can see that's greater than 1/4. That's actually 1/3. So this question also was false. 55% of people preferred Coca-Cola. False. That was 25%. The most popular drink was milk. True. 1/3 of people liked milk. The next group of questions then. What percentage of people preferred green? That was 1/3, which is a percent is 33.3 recurring percent. What fraction of people preferred red or orange? Remember, for red or orange, add them up. As a fraction, that's 1/2. What fraction of people's favourite colour was orange? Now, this was a little trickier. I know that this is 1/3 and I know that red is 1/3. These two together are another third. Half of a third is 1/6. Don't worry if you found that one tricky. We hadn't seen an example like that. Which two colours would be best for a new school t-shirt design? The most popular colours, which were red and green. What percentage of people's favourite colour was not blue or orange? I'm looking for the percent of people who did not choose blue or orange. So that'd be red and green. I know red and green are both 1/3. If you didn't get this one before, have a go now. 2/3 of people preferred not red or green, and as a percent, that's 66.6%. I know question 15 and 17 were a bit trickier, so don't worry if you found them hard. We're going to continue learning now, and what we're doing now is going to have 2 steps to our problem. Now in these questions, we know how many people are surveyed. So we're being asked not what fraction, not what percentage, but how many people. That means there are 2 steps. Step 1 is to identify the fractional percentage, then find that fraction of the whole. Let's have a look. In this question, 40 people were surveyed in total. How many people liked Harry Potter the most? Step 1, identify the fraction. Harry Potter was half of the people. It doesn't say what fraction of people, it says how many people. So that means I'm finding 1/2 of the total. The total is 40. Half of 40 is equal to 20. Let's have a look at the next question then. First of all, you need to identify the fraction. How many people like Northern Lights the most? Write down on your piece of paper what fraction that is. Step 2, find that fraction of the whole. The whole is still 40. Can you please solve how many people preferred Northern Lights on your piece of paper? Northern Lights was 1/4 of people, but it doesn't ask me what fraction, it says how many people, so I know I need to do 1/4 of 40. 40 divided by 4 is equal to 10. In this question, 40 people are asked about their favourite crisp flavour. How many people preferred salt and vinegar? Step 1, find the fraction. 1/4 of people like salt and vinegar. Step 2, find that fraction of the amount. The total is 40. 1/4 of 40 is equal to 10. Pause the video now and try this question here. How many people preferred cheese and onion? You needed to identify the fraction first. The fraction was 1/8. Half of a quarter is 1/8. If you didn't have that before and you've now got it, please finish solving this question with 1/8. The second part then is to find the fractional percentage of the whole. We're looking for 1/8 of 40. 40 divided by 8 is equal to 5. So you can see there's just a second step added on here. Just like before, we find the fraction of the amount, which we could do already. Then you need to add on your of the whole. I'm going to go through a couple of these now. 120 people are surveyed. How many people chose red? First, I identify that that is equal to 1/3. 1/3 of people chose red, but I'm asked how many people that is, so I need to do 1/3 of the whole, which is 120. 120 divided by 3 is equal to 40. Can you please pause the video and try these 2 questions now? Pause the video and try the second 2 questions. Okay, this question said, how many people preferred blue or green? First, find the fraction. Blue or green? Here's blue, here's green. Add them together, that's 1/2. 1/2 preferred blue or green. Step 2, find what fraction that is of the whole. 1/2 of 120. Half of 120 is 60. The next question, how many people preferred blue? Blue down here, remember if red is 1/3 and green is 1/3, blue and orange is 1/3, half of a third is 1/6. That's a tricky fraction to spot, so don't worry if you found it hard. But you can do the next bit. What is 1/6 of 120? I know 12 divided by 6 is 2, so 120 divided by 6 will be 20. This is a question from a SATs paper that you saw a couple of months ago, and now I bet you'd be able to do it. This chart shows the number of different big cats in a zoo. There are 20 big cats altogether. Tick the statements that are true. There are more cheetahs than jaguars. If you think that's true, write a T for true. The total number of lions and tigers is 10. Look at your lions and tigers. Does that total 10? If you think so, write T for number 2. Number 3, 1/4 of the big cats are cheetahs. If you think that's true, write a T. And for number 4, there are more than 5 jaguars. Solve that question now. It is a question that most of you got wrong when we looked at it a couple of months ago, but now you'll all be confident doing it. Right, there are more cheetahs than jaguars. That's true. Cheetah has a bigger section than jaguar. The total number of lions and tigers is 10. Well, if there are 20 cats altogether, half of that would equal 10. Lions and tigers does not make half. That's not 10. 1/4 of the big cats are cheetahs. Yes, I can see 1/4 of the cats are cheetahs. There are more than 5 jaguars. Well, again, let's work out what 1/4 of 20 would be. 1/4 is 5. Do I have more than a quarter? No, I've actually got less than a quarter. Okay, it's time for you to have a go at some of these reasoning questions. Remember, in these reasoning questions, there are 2 steps. First, find the fraction, then find that fraction of the amount. Okay, so for these reasoning problems, if it asks you how many people, you need to find the people. If it asks you for the fraction, just write the fraction. Please pause the video and have a go at these last questions now. Don't forget, I'll be going through the answers afterwards. Please do not continue watching the video until you've answered these independent questions. It's essential you have a go at answering these questions for yourself before I go through the answers. Please make sure you've done these questions before we go through. Okay, question 1A. This pie chart shows the holiday destinations for 560 people. How many people went to Spain on holiday? It doesn't ask me what fraction, it says how many people. I see the fraction who went to Spain is a half, but because it says how many people, I'm finding half of 560. I know half of 560, half of 500 is 250, half of 60 is 30, that will be 280 for question 1A. B, what fraction chose to go to Greece? That is a fraction, so your answer would just be 1/8. If you said 1/8 of 560, you actually got that one wrong. This one was just asking for the fraction. How many more? That means at some point I'm going to have to do some subtracting. How many more people went to France than Portugal? Step 1, how many people went to France? Step 2, how many people went to Portugal? Step 3, subtract. So France was a quarter. 1/4 of 560 is going to be equal to 140. How many people went to Portugal? That's 1/8. 1/8 of 560 will be 70. So my next step will be to find out how many more. 140, take away 70, leaves me with 70 more people. That was especially tricky as we hadn't seen a question like that before, so well done if you were able to use your reasoning skills to solve that one. Next question. This pie chart shows the ingredients needed to make biscuits. In total, the recipe weighs 120 grams. Sorry that question didn't have a number on. If you didn't spot it, don't worry. How much flour is used? Flour is half, so I'm finding half of 120. Half of 120 grams would be equal to 60 grams. Please make sure for all of these questions you included a unit of measure. If you've got your unit of measure, go back and do that now. Okay, how much sugar is used? When I'm looking at the sugar, I can see that's 1/4, but it doesn't ask me what fraction, it says how much, so I need to find 1/4 of 120. 120 divided by 4 will be 30, unit of measurement is grams. Question 3, how much flour is used? That's a repeat question, sorry, that is still 60 grams. Question 4, how much more flour is used than sugar? Flour is 60 grams, and sugar, I've already worked out, is 30. So I'll subtract, because I know how many more or how much more is subtraction, leaving me with 30 grams. If Kelly's going to make twice the amount of biscuits, how much sugar will she need? If for this recipe she needs 30 grams to make twice the amount, that would be 30 times 2. 30 grams times 2 is equal to 60 grams. Okay, Well done if you were able to solve some of those trickier reasoning problems. I know it's really difficult sometimes with the reasoning when there's not a teacher to help you, but I've been really impressed with everybody who's been having a go and trying their hardest. I'll see you tomorrow for more work about pie charts. Don't forget to upload your work onto Seesaw and make sure it's all marked.